All right, welcome back, you guys, to another beautiful episode of PkMnMasterKlaus. This is Klaus. Today, I'm joined by Tempest. He's one of my friends who played recently at the Baltimore Regionals back in September 16th through 18th of 2022. I guess introduce yourself, Tempest.
Hey guys, I'm Tempest. I'm local to that area, and I brought in Palkia and Teleon to the tournament.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And I guess ballpark. How long have you been playing Pokemon,
I'd
TCG wise?
say, all right, so started playing back in 2013 and took a break after a year or so, and then got back into it late 2021 and really started to go into it 2022 onwards, and this is my first regional.
Ooh, awesome. So I guess since this is your first regionals, I guess what was your expectation going in? And I know that you've gone to other regionals for different kind of TCGs. So what was your expectation going in, and how's it different from the other regionals you've attended?
So previously, I did a regional or somewhat of a regional called ARG, and this was the nationals level of it back in 2017, which had 9 rounds. And with this Baltimore regional, I had expected it to go a bit faster, knowing that there would be um, like more of a defined system. But of course, like anything else, people go into time and whatnot. So it did go pretty long, which is like from early in the morning to late in the evening.
Okay. You were saying that you were playing Palkia deck, correct?
Yes.
What was your lineups like? What was your decks that you faced during your regionals here?
So I played about 6 rounds instead of going to the full 9 rounds. My first 4 rounds were all Arceus Pikachu
Emotional
variants with
damage.
some changes in between it, which was very well,
Annoying.
it was a ride. It was annoying too. And then my last 2 rounds to round it out were one UV Max, and then the last one was an Arceus Duraludon, for which I'll close out the day.
Oof. Okay. Um, During that regionals, I guess what was the most played deck that you noticed that was um I guess being played at the regional?
So definitely for sure the Arceus Pikachu variant. I think people were anticipating not just like, for Palkia, but to also, do mirror matches because I did see some people run the Hisuian Decidueye with it as well. And to top it all out too, I also saw uh Regidex, Mew V Maxes around, and I guess to a few places here, I saw Eternatus brought out. Um, but yeah, but then of course, as we all know, the ones that topped were most around those Mew V Maxes, and then the Inteleon Charizard box.
Oh, okay. Was there any Lunatones being played? Out of curiosity.
I did not see any of those actually around, nor
Hmm.
did I see any like other I guess niche type of decks. That being like a Durant mill deck, I did not see that around. Maybe somebody was playing it.
Gotcha, gotcha. Um, if I recall, there's no Lost Origin sets being allowed to play because of the whole 2 weeks restriction. What were some pros and cons of not having to be able to use or being against the Lost Origin sets?
So a pro for me would be not facing Giratina, Zoroark, and then probably Kyurem to that extent. And the reason being is that I was not exactly prepared for a Giratina matchup, even though um they do take some time with their setup, but their setup is very fast when it rolls off. Um, and then Zoroark, like I know that they do damage splits, but I don't know how fast it does. So it really was just like me not knowing the matchups if that was ready. The cons on that, however, was I wish I was able to use the Drapion V because against Mew, that would have hard countered at least one Mew V Max for that turn, and
Yeah.
then they can knock it out afterwards if they wanted to. But then at that point, I'll have some momentum I can use from that point. Granted, if they don't use Path to Peak on me.
True. I mean, yeah, I've
Uh,
seen how fast that can help, neutralize the me deck. Honestly, call it out in the first turn. If you go second, yeah, call it first turn and just start targeting all their Mews. Really annoying. I guess. What's your overall experience from this regionals?
I'd say I had a pretty fun experience. It was my very first one for this, and I liked how they had a lot of many things scattered around, like side events, free play with consoles. Like they brought everything from 64 to Switch in terms of the console related games, and I enjoyed playing some of that on this on downtime.
Oh, when you're talking about the
Uh,
side events, can you elaborate to me a little bit more? Like, what were you talking
so
about with
side
side events?
events are varied in terms of what activities they did. One of them that I participated was a single pack battle,
Mm-hmm.
which essentially has you pull from one pack, choose whatever Pokemon that you pull from that, and use a pool of energy that you're given and make a 10 card deck. When you face an opponent, you use only one prize card and you draw out, I believe, four or five. And how the mechanics work, even though you may have like a stage one or stage two, is that you make sure you have a basic, of course, but then when you evolve, you can use any of the Pokemon to evolve like to the next stage. So I could, for example, have say a Sabo as my basic,
Mm-hmm.
but then if my stage one is, let's say, not a Drizzile, but like say a Thwackey, for example, I can evolve to that instead if it was part of
The pack.
the pool that I got from my
Oh,
pack. Or if it was a VMAX, I could do the same thing too. Uh, so it's
interesting.
kind of like a very free play type of mode, and this was done in like a mini Swiss round to get tickets, for which you can exchange tickets at this prize table, which varies from supplies like sleeves to even um, big boxes that contains V's and some packs. I believe there was also booster boxes and ETBs available too.
That would have been nice to get some booster packs that way. The booster boxes would
Yeah,
have been cool.
for sure.
Hey, okay. Um, I guess to sum it all up, what is something you wish you had known prior to attending the event, and or some guidelines or tips for anyone else who's interested in attending future regional events?
So, for one part, I wish I had known to uh, get there on time, or at least the side events a bit more like in detail. Despite the fact that the website did explain that there were going to be side events, I didn't know to what scale these events were and what the price table was. Because originally I thought the price table was going to be like people who had made day two, but I did not know that until after I arrived. And um I think one other thing I wish I had known was like how many wins you need to get to day two. I mean, I did know that there was a 6-2-1 record that you need to make, but what I also didn't know from that was like you could also still lose a couple more and actually gain some tournament points. So that could have been a possibility for me, but by the time I had gone through my sixth round, I was very tired, which brings to my next thing. I wish that I'd known that like there was just gonna be taking this much time because it went from like 8 a.m. I believe until 9 p.m. I think, but I left earlier. So it's with that, like I highly advise to stay energized, hydrated, whatnot throughout the day, and then make sure you get a lot of sleep beforehand. Um, and following on with these tips, I do recommend to get on their time because there was a lunch period where I almost missed my round four or five. I think it was four. And if you don't make it, yeah, there could be some penalties with it. And yeah, make sure you get to your matches on time.
When you say penalties, is it just a auto loss or how's it done?
I don't know per per se, but I can only imagine that for that match within your round could be at a loss, I guess it was after a certain point in time, maybe 5 minutes or so. But
Oh, okay.
um, I think for just to avoid anything really, just get there on time.
Gotcha.
And the last thing I highly advise is, so if you're not a local to the area, make sure you get a place to stay or have a contact to stick around with in the area, because you will be tired. You will need to recuperate at some point, either beforehand or afterwards. And I'd say I was lucky enough to stick around at a friend's place nearby the area, but there was a chance I could not have, for which, like, yeah, I would be very tired to go back home even then.
Hmm, gotcha. I guess overall, do you recommend people to attend it? I mean, because it wasn't cheap. Like, what was it? If I recall, like $60 to $70 per the
It was
entry ticket.
68 for the entry, yes. And you do pay extra for side events. Yeah, note, side events require you to pay like some amount depending which one you did. I paid about $6 for that single um battle pack
Oh, so
thing.
it's not free. Okay.
It's not free. It's not free. And yeah, there would be other side things that may go on with it. Like in that regional, there was an autograph signing by one of the illustrators, for which there was like a package tier list. You would spend at least starting from $30. Um,
Okay.
I opted out of it because I had no real interest then, but that could have been another experience for another time.
Gotcha. Oh man, so side events are not free. Okay, because the only reason I asked was like in other events that we've attended, or at least I've attended at the like for a different card game, they were if you
They were
lose
free.
the main regional event, then instead of doing nothing, they do have a small like free event for you like attend. But okay, so it wasn't free. I guess what are some like free goodies should you get? I know that sometimes they do get playmats, and sometimes other stuff. What did you get out of it?
So I was given an Ultra Pro coupon, and this one, I believe it was 15% off for my purchase. An Ultra Pro backpack, or more like a
Like knapsack?
backpack. Yeah, backpack, yeah. And I would have gotten a playmat, but they ran out of stock. It was the Giratina version,
Oof.
and yeah, I really wish I had that. So I ended up getting a Sable hat,
Wait, what?
and at least I can wear it. It's something I could take out of it.
Hey, at least it's a card you use also, so it works out, right?
Oh, for sure.
Um,
Until it gets swatted out by the regulation. Yeah. So
so do you recommend? I know this is like a topic that you and I talked about before all this event happened. Was that we were talking about either checking in on day zero or day one. Day one being the day of the tournament, day zero being the day before, I guess. What do you recommend? Do you still recommend the day one route, or do you still would you go against and choose a day zero now that you've experienced it?
now that I've experienced it, to be on the safe side, go with the day zero if you can. If you do end up going to day one to check in, that's fine too. They have accounted for people to make a huge line for day one, because that's when I arrived.
Uh,
And when we got set up inside the venue, it took a while for, pair one round one pairings to come up.
okay, so if you go to day zero, then at least day one you can sleep in a little. Is what I'm hearing then.
Yes, yeah. So, well, yes and no. Either way, the venue's open, and you're gonna have to wait until like what, 7:30 to get in with it. So I think with that together, yeah, better to just get it early, because when you do check in on day zero, then you can just go straight in when day one hits. You don't have to wait in line.
Oh, that's good. I guess that's about it. I mean, if you guys haven't already hit the like button, subscribe, or whatnot, please do so. It's a good motivation for myself. And I guess in comment below, what deck are you gonna use if you're gonna attend the next upcoming regionals? Like I'm gonna use probably Giratina at the Salt Lake City, and where I'll choose one random commenter below, and I'll probably give them a code for the Lost Origin set. I guess in closing remarks, do you have anything else you want to say?
Practice a lot. That's what makes it perfect. Know your ins and outs of your deck. And then have fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, and see you guys next time. Peace.